Dear students, this is Dr. Rajalakshmi from Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University. Let us see the fourth unit from Learner Psychology, Children with Disabilities. In this unit, we are going to see about disabilities, sensory impairment, cognitive disabilities, and physical disabilities. Let us start with the words by John Heinrich Pestalozzi. Man must search for what is right and let happiness come on its own. First, we will see the interaction. Children constitute the nation's future human resources. It is therefore very important that their welfare receives the highest importance. Disability is defined as an environmentally contextualized health-related limitation in a child's existing or emergent capacity to perform developmentally appropriate activities and participate as desired in society. Disability is an umbrella term for impairments at the body level, activity restrictions at the person level, and participation restrictions at the person in society level. Persons with disabilities include those who have long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments, which in interaction with various barriers may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. According to the new UNICEF report, 240 million children in the world today have some form of disability. This estimate is higher than previous figures and is based on a more meaningful and inclusive understanding of disability, which constitute several domains of functioning, including those related to psychosocial well-being. Most children with disabilities have difficulties in just one functional domain. Some may have other issues related to its age, in some cases in combination with other functional difficulties also. Developmental disabilities begin any time during the developmental period and usually last throughout a person's lifetime. Most disabilities begin before a baby is born, but some can happen after birth because of injury, infection, or any other factors. Next, we will see about sensory impairment. Sensory disabilities or the disabilities affecting an individual's senses, such as hearing, sight, touch, smell, and taste. The main cause of sensory disabilities include accidents or injury, genetic factors, illnesses, or environmental factors. Some of the sensory disabilities can be corrected through surgery, while others are long life disorders. The main types of sensory disabilities include blindness and low vision, hearing loss and deafness, deaf blindness, and sensory processing disorder. Next, we will see the characteristics of students with sensory impairments. First one is total or partial loss of vision. Next, a total or partial loss of hearing. Next, loss of significant degree of both hearing and vision. Sensory impairments does not affect the cognitive skills of a student. However, some students with sensory impairments also have cognitive impairments. A sensory impairment will affect how the student accesses information and ultimately learns. Next, curriculum and educational approaches for these students. Early intervention is very important for children who have sensory impairments. For children who are deaf or hearing impaired, early intervention helps to improve speech and language development. The critical period of language development happens before a child turns 3. Therefore, it's very important for children who are deaf or hearing impaired to receive early intervention services as early in life as possible. Some of strategies for the general teacher to follow. That is, first one is always face the students when presenting information. Allow the student to choose his or her seat in the classroom. Remember that the student's speech translator only facilitates communication and does not deal with instruction. Provide visual aids to support instruction. Assess the student's background knowledge and be aware of gaps in knowledge that could affect learning. Avoid ambient noise and noise distractions. A classroom amplification system may help a student with the hearing impairment. Early intervention services will help a child who is blind or visually impaired to achieve milestones and begin their learning of basic concepts. During the first year of life, most of the learning takes place. through its repetition and exploration. Children who are blind or visually impaired need help in learning how to use gross and fine motor skills. Once children enter school, must receive their education in the general classroom and receive services from a teacher who has been trained in teaching students who are blind or visually impaired. General education teacher can help the blind or visually impaired children by following some strategies like allowing the student uh, for opportunities for tax exploration by providing models, reality or other hands-on teaching aids. Next, cognitive disabilities. Cognitive disability is an ableist term that describes a person who has more than average difficulty with mental tasks. A person's ability to learn, speak, memorize, and problem solving skills are disrupted. The person suffers from dementia and delirium disease. Further, it affects the memorizing and reasoning power also. Uh, the definition of cognitive disability is an impairment of functioning in terms of intelligence and mental ability. Cognitive disabilities also referred to as cognitive impairments or intellectual disabilities. Cognitive disabilities can detrimentally impact the functional skills of a person in the realms of interpersonal communication, problem solving, and comprehension, as well as other psychological and social processes. Next, types of cognitive disabilities. There are four specific types of cognitive disabilities which are mild, moderate, and severe and profound. These specifiers are grouped by IQ as well as the level of impairment that individuals face when afflicted with cognitive disabilities. First one is mild. This type of cognitive impairment is the most common one, and approximately 85% of individuals diagnosed as intellectually fit into this category. The IQ scores of these persons ranges from 55 to 70. Next one is moderate. People who fall in this level of cognitive impairment ranges from 30 to 55 and are very limited in the ability to be independent. Next one is severe and profound. This category is indicated by an IQ score of less than 30 with less than 4 people, percentage of people who have been diagnosed with cognitive disabilities falling into this category. These individuals are severely limited in their functional ability and may need another person to feed, bath, and rest them. Individuals in this category need supervision day and night in order to ensure their safety. Next is symptoms. First one is memory disorder. The person will have problem in listening and recalling things. Next is hyperactivity. The person tends to hypo during sitting, standing, face and remains in undue hurry. Next is dyslexia. The person who faces problems in reading, writing and memorizing. Next, causes of cognitive disability. Some of the causes are that is the problems occurs due to problems of brain like tumor, head injury, shock, infection, harmful brain neurotoxins, or any other brain related disease. It affects person's memorizing power, learning skills, and routine and ability to do routine activities. Next one is physical disabilities. A physical disability is anything that limits the physical function of the child's body. Physical disabilities can include challenges with the large motor skills like walking or small motor skills like holding objects and using scissors. A child may also have a medical disability that limits her ability to be physically active, such as heart or breathing issue. Disabilities may be present from birth or may develop at any point during a person's lifetime. A physical disability is a condition that substantially limits one or more basic physical activities in life, that is, like walking, climbing stairs, reaching, carrying, or lifting. These limitations hinder the person from performing tasks of daily living. Physical disabilities are highly individualized. According to our PWD Act 2016, locomotor disability means problem in moving from one place to another, that is, disability in legs, but in general it's taken as disability related with the bones, joints and muscles. It causes problems in person's movements like walking, picking or holding things in hands, etc. Next, we'll see the characteristic features of physical or locomotor disability. The characteristics of physical disability will vary significantly depending on the type and severity of physical disability as well as the body parts affected. Some of the more common physical disabilities are cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, spina bifida, orthopedic and musculoskeletal conditions. Characteristics features of these students with other health impairments also vary depending on the health impairment. Students may be weak, tired, or in pain. Students with other health impairments tend to have more absences due to their illnesses. Common health conditions that may classify a student as other health impairment are asthma, HIV/AIDS, sickle cell disease, epilepsy, cancer, type 1 diabetes, cystic fibrosis. Some students with physical disabilities have difficulty in communication. It's important for educators to determine the intellectual abilities of these students so teachers can provide students with instruction that is academically challenging one. Next, special attention and instruction for these students. Early intervention is important for health impairments, uh, both for physical both for students with physical disabilities and students with other health impairments. Early intervention can provide students with physical conditions with therapeutic intervention, which can help to improve the student's strength, posture, and range of movement. Early intervention also help parents provide intervention at home. When students are enrolled in early intervention, school personnel, healthcare providers, and other social workers offer support to parents who may be having a difficulty time as a result of child's physical limitations or illnesses. It is important that the teachers determine the individual learning needs of the student. Some students with physical or health impairments may be academically gifted and some may have other disabilities, including learning disabilities. All students with the disabilities will participate in the general curriculum, but some will receive modification or instruction in daily living skills. Now come to the conclusion. The lives of children with disabilities can be surrounded by stigma, discrimination, cultural prejudices, ill perceptions, and shocking invisibility. Nearly 93 million children uh, were found and affected with these disabilities. In addition, children with disabilities are dramatically or a heightened risk of violence, neglect, abuse, and exploitation. It's urgent to adopt in all countries legislation banning all forms of violence, if any, against all children, and to establish effective and well-resourced child and disability-sensitive mechanisms to prevent and address incidents of violence. It is essential to invest in awareness raising and information, including research about child disability and the forms and prevalence of violence, compromising the enjoyment of their rights. This can be best done if we work together with children, the disabilities, and their families and organizations promoting their rights. Dear students, till now we have discussed about children with disabilities. In this, we have discussed about the definition for children with disabilities. That is, disabilities include those who have long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments, which in interaction with the various barriers may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis. So we have seen the types also. So it's that is we are in an urgent situation that certain changes have to be adapted in order to do favor to these children who are affected with disabilities. Thank you.